back, everybody. Here we go. You're riding shotgun with me today. Try to make videos like this on what I think about, on the things that are going on in politics or sports or whatever. Today it's going to be about COVID reparations. Should China have to pay us? Should Trump increase tariffs on China to funnel that money back to Americans who suffered because of COVID? No matter who you are and what walk of life, everybody suffered, regardless. Well, maybe except for big business. They all gained, while little businesses got shut down. In any case, we are riding in my 2022 Corolla Hybrid. The camera is mounted. I'm not holding it. Everything is safe. It's just like you're sitting next to me. I got Toyota Safety Sense, so I got adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, all those good things. We are safe to go while I comment on this. So let's just give you my perspective. In 2021, my wife and I both bought our first house ever. She was working full-time and I was working full-time, and we were able to afford it. We didn't get a house for a very long time. I didn't understand a lot of everything, but because of YouTube, I was able to learn on how to buy a house and what is needed to buy a house. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with. One is, I didn't have credit cards or anything like that, so I didn't have a good credit score, but that wasn't the reason why I didn't have a good credit score. I didn't have a good credit score because I didn't agree with going into debt to build credit. So the system is just stupid and in my opinion, corrupt. That to buy a house, you have to prove that you're credit worthy. And to do that, they want you to get credit cards and stuff and have them for a little bit of time. You're gonna have to, you can piggyback on somebody. Like I piggybacked on my wife's uncle's credit card to give me a longer a longer credit history and things like that. If you're gonna do that, you might want to look into it, make sure that you're gonna piggyback on some credit card who has a great credit history, not somebody who doesn't. And I'm not even sure if it still works, but in any case, we had to go into debt just to sit there and build credit. And the way I did it is that, I got credit cards and stuff, but as soon as I got paid, I paid them all off. So I didn't have to ever pay interest. But that's besides the point. That's what I was doing with my cash in the first place, and I shouldn't have to do that to buy a house. If I don't have debt and I'm paying everything in cash and everything's paid on time, there should not be a reason why I shouldn't have been able to buy a house. My credit history was perfect on payments. My payments were 100%, but I didn't have a revolving door credit line to pay credit. In any case, we bought our house. We decided to buy in the next state over because the prices for housing in Oregon was just way too much. We do live in the Pacific Northwest, so we bought our house in Washington, and I still work in Oregon. My wife was working in Oregon. She was a caregiver. And it worked out because our path to my job was perfect it was the same path that went by her job. My wife cannot drive. She doesn't drive, so I drive everywhere. But because of my seniority at my job, I was able to work my shifts around her shifts. So it was perfect. We would drive to work. I would drop her off. I would get off. I go to her job, wait for her to get off, and then I pick her up and we drive home. And it was perfect. I loved having her with me. We got conversations. Sometimes, I had most of when it first started, I had my nice truck, the truck that I built into like a show truck. I installed a Tesla screen myself, so sometimes when we didn't have much to say, we were just tired, I would just let her watch movies on the Tesla screen in the truck. In any case, she lost her job. And she didn't lose her job because she was a bad employee. In fact, she was a great employee. But because she refused to take the vaccine, and she also sat there and gave them a religious exemption that says that she cannot take the vaccine according to our religious beliefs. they still denied her. And my wife was saying that they just want her to quit. And I said, don't quit. You need to let them fire you. Make them fire you. And so that's exactly what they did. But I told her, I said, when they fire you, make sure that you get a termination letter. They gave her a termination letter. In the termination letter, it said that she was a great employee, never had any issues. They would hire her again, but based off her refusal to take the vaccine, and they could not honor her religious exemption, they had no choice but to fire her. And so I was like, cool, well, you just sit at home, you enjoy the house that we bought, and I'll do the best that I can to provide at my job and pay all the bills. Well, the bills kept piling up because the bills don't care that there's a pandemic going on. The bills don't care that people are losing their jobs because of a pandemic that came, in my opinion, from China through a lab leak in Wuhan. I don't believe that it came from bats. There's a lot of opinions on that. There's a lot of people who believe it came from the Wuhan lab leak, and some of them believe it came from bats. I'm on the side that I believe that it was a lab leak from Wuhan in China that infected the entire world. In any case, she lost her job, the bills were piling up, and I had to make a decision on what we're going to do. So I found out that there was a forbearance plan that was issued for a lot of mortgage companies to where you can go some months without paying your mortgage. And I had to go with that because the bills were piling up, like I said. As you can see, I have a newer car. I had other vehicles. I had a house. Well, along with that house comes with water, garbage, sewer, everything. All that stuff came with it. The bills were piling up. And that's not even talking about the personal things like medical, medicine, doctor visits, all that stuff that also came with it, food, personal hygiene, things like that. All those things came and they all piled up. Anyway, it got to a point where the forbearance was going to run out. And the first time in my life, first time in our life, we sat there and looked into claiming bankruptcy to protect what we just sat there and earned. So we ended up claiming a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, wiping all the debt away from us. We were able to keep the house, the car, and pretty much everything, because everything was brand new. We didn't have any equity in the house because even the little equity we had went away when we went to forbearance. The car was pretty much brand new. There was no equity in the car, and everything else, it wasn't even worth the amount of money that we owed. In any case, we had to sit there and do what we had to do. So our bankruptcy went through, and the problem now is that we are stuck. If we want to move, how do we move with a bad credit score? Bankruptcy doesn't look good on anything. And we're still struggling because of the regime that's in the office right now, which won't be there soon because President Trump, which we voted for, is going to be taking office and hopefully fix a lot of these issues. But anyway, that's a backstory on our issues, and we have a lot more than that. But we're only in this situation because of COVID. We're only in this situation, in my opinion, because of China, Wuhan lab leak. So why wouldn't I think that China should have to pay? Why don't I think that American mandates and American push of the vaccine, these vaccine companies that, didn't have any liability, which is bullshit. As we all know, that there's a whole bunch of vaccine injuries that was not 100% safe and effective. They lied to us about that, and a lot of things. So in any other way of life, if you are injured financially, if you are injured physically, you can sue and get redemption for that. You can get your way of life back. They need to make you whole. So why is this any different? It shouldn't be any different. And that's why we need to have a conversation about this. Why is that even a possibility? And the next thing is why don't Why can't China pay extra in tariffs, Trump to make China pay extra in tariffs, to pay back the American people for what they had to go through? You know, the reason why I got this car, and I love this car, is because I had to trade in my dream truck, the truck that I bought stock, that I made into a show truck because of the gas prices. I drive an hour and a half to work, and then I get about a 15-minute less on the way home because I drive home late at night. So about an hour and a half to work, an hour and 15 home. But regardless, it's about 55 miles to and 55 miles from. And my truck, it wasn't feasible with our bills stacking up to consistently pay for that. So I had to make the tough choice of trading in my dream truck for this car. And I have nothing but great things to say about this car. It's a 2022. I bought it with 2 miles on it. It almost has 70,000 miles on it, and I haven't had to do anything but change the oil and tire rotations and things like that. It has been awesome. In the summertime, I get about 60 plus miles per gallon. In the wintertime, I get about 50 plus miles per gallon. The only changes based on the tires and the wheels that I have on the car. When I use my bigger wheels, I get less miles per gallon because they're heavier. But also these hybrid batteries, just like electric car batteries, they don't like the cold. So you're naturally going to lose about, in my opinion, 10 miles per gallon just because of the colder weather. In the warmer weather, you gain 10 miles per gallon. But in any regards, it was a lot better than the 16 miles per gallon I was getting in my truck. And so this is a great car. I'm a big guy, very tall, 6'5", and it's hard for me to fit in it, but I make it work because I got to. Anyway, how do we go about getting the message to Trump that we need not only to be made whole from China through tariffs or through American laws being changed, but I need to know what you think in the comments. Tell me what you think. What happened to you during COVID? What happened to you that changed your life? Did it change your finances? Did it put you in debt? Are you still, fighting an uphill battle? We are too. The only good news that we've gotten lately is that I filed on my wife's behalf because she doesn't like confrontation. I filed through BOLI, it's a Bureau of Land or Labor and Industries, against her job for religious discrimination, and we just got a reply that they are going through with it, and they just sent a letter to my wife's job, which they can't deny it because we have a letter from them. That's why I had her request a letter of termination. In any case, that's what it is, and hopefully we get the right to sue, which we should, because everything is on our side. They admitted to everything in the letter, and there are precedent for this. The lowest amount that I've seen somebody win, I think it was Tanja Brown or Tanja Brenton, I can't remember her name. She won $700,000 in a lawsuit through Blue Cross Blue Shield in Tennessee. Another lady, I can't remember her name, also through Blue Cross Blue Shield, and she won $12.7 million in that. We're not trying to get rich, but they do need to pay the price. Just because you think it's right, and it might be an Oregon mandate, it's not the law. You cannot violate civil rights in any matter, in any way. You cannot violate civil rights. That's why they're there. So even though you thought you were in the right, the world thought you were in the right, America thought you were in the right, you weren't right. So we just had to wait for all the bullshit to go away, for everything to sit there and come to and get court precedent. And that's exactly what we got. So I could lay out in the lawsuit, hopefully they want to settle out of court, but we can lay out in the lawsuit exactly why we need to be made whole, and what bills and stuff, and what it took, what kind of toll it took on us financially, spiritually, and emotionally. A lot of these people that are winning these big lump sums, it's very little in the back pay, but it's a lot in the punitive damages, and that's exactly what we have. I don't know if there's cases a lot worse than this. But in any case, this is what happens. Just so let you know, we are on Highway 30. I hope you enjoyed the ride. I take this path to work instead of going on I-5. I-5 is not scenic. This is beautiful and scenic, especially in the summertime. We ride our motorcycles on this, usually to Astoria, to the beach, and to the ocean side, and things like that. Seaside. It's just beautiful, and I would rather take this path, which is a little bit slower, just so I have the scenery, and I hope you enjoyed the scenery also. This is the path we're going to be going all the way to my job. So let me know in the comments, again, how COVID affected you. What happened to you in your life? What happened to your finances? How were you injured? Anyway, I appreciate you coming here to hear what I have to say. Peace.